Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the LJ Ranky Travel Channel. It is Tuesday, June 16th. Still on the Getaway. We are docked at Funchal, Madeira Island. I never even heard of this place until this cruise. I'm gonna do a pan behind me. We pulled in this morning, it was quite dramatic. If you look at this city, you see, now you can't see behind someone, I'm having a hard time, I'm facing the sun right now, but behind the ship's, some of the ship's water park there I'm at the top deck. But you can start to see, I hope, the island behind me. When we came in this morning, it was dark, and to see the lights on this island climbing up the hillside, it's really quite dramatic. I hope to keep this relatively short because we have a gentleman who's going to meet us at 9 o'clock with our scooter. There's quite more here, more of a city than I expected to find. There's some beautiful gardens, there's a palace here, an old palace, and so I think we're going to enjoy this day. I want to say a couple of things before we get off the boat today, and I'm calling it a boat. People say it's a ship, but people also call it a boat quite often, you know, the Love Boat kind of a thing. Anyway, a couple of things. One is about the Getaway. Something that is it's kind of funny. Every time I use the elevator, I start singing Sheena Easton's For Your Eyes Only. And the reason is because every time the elevator comes up and down, it goes a ding ding, and it's the opening notes from For Your Eyes Only. So I'm always thinking about that on this ship. And one of the other nice things about Norwegian is there's always music. It's hard to actually find a quiet place on this ship unless you're in your stateroom. But the music that they play is kind of pop, kind of rock, but it's always easy listening. But it's not, very often it's music I've never heard, but it's nice to have in the background. They do a nice job with their music selection. One of the problems we've had on this trip is Wi-Fi. And I can't really fault Norwegian for that because you're crossing the Atlantic, and how do you know, you know, to get Wi-Fi for everybody, that's not an easy thing. Our plan has 300 free minutes. One of the difficulties is sometimes your plan, when you exit out of it, it doesn't exit, so it keeps ticking, but they've been very good about adding minutes to people's plans if they've lost minutes in that way. Anyway, two things I wanted to tell you about. One has to do with our, on a personal level. Should I say that yet? I'll wait. Last night we ate at the Brazilian Steakhouse, Moderna. Moderna, there's a British word, I mean a Portuguese word, chario something. I'm sorry, I should know what that is, I'm sorry. But I have never had a dining experience like that. It's one of the specialty restaurants where you would normally pay, but we had two nights in restaurants that were included. I have never seen food served like this, okay, people? The salad bar was amazing. I mean, there were hearts of palms. There was fried, what kind of cheese was it? It was fried provolone. Fried peppers, really good salad bar. And then when you get done eating your salad, they put a little thing next to your plate. One side is green and one side is red. And when I saw the menu, I saw all these types of meat, and I thought, okay, which one am I going to order? You don't order the different meats. They bring all of them to your table. And what's amazing is it's all on big 24-inch skewers, and they hold the skewers vertically. All right, and sometimes there's one, sometimes there's two, depending on how the meat is skewered together. Like it's a steak, it'll kind of be, and it'll kind of fold it over on itself so they can get all this meat. And then they come to your table and they begin slicing off a piece of meat, and you have little tongs, and you take your tong and you grab the top of your piece of meat as they're cutting it, and you take it off and you put it on your plate. We had filet mignon, we had sirloin, I think it was sirloin, it was a ribeye. They had also roast lamb, they had pork loin, they had chicken breast wrapped in bacon. All this was on these skewers. When you got the chicken, you got the entire breast. It was a relatively, not a huge breast, but a full, nice piece of meat. Very moist, very tender. They also had chicken drummies that were Parmesan crusted, okay? So you had that. You also had a pork sausage. And it was just wonderful, excellent meal. And then at the end of the meal, they come by, well, no, a part of the meal, because you get a different dessert. For part of the meal, they give you roast pineapple. So they've got these entire pineapples on these skewers, all crusted with brown sugar and cinnamon. And they come to your table and they slice off. It turns out to be kind of a triangular piece. They put it on your plate and you eat this roasted pineapple and you finish the crust. Oh, it's been skinned, of course, but the crust that's on there is brown sugar and cinnamon. It's to die for, people. Really an amazing dining experience. It was really quite amazing. I wanted to say something about our riding a scooter the other day in Ponta Delgada in the Azores. We had a nice time, had a little bit of a hard time finding the cycle place because it's a brand new business. And at first, when we couldn't find it, nobody seemed to know where it was. We talked to people who didn't speak English. We tried to say blue sky. They did not know where it was. Well, he'd sent us a little map, but it wasn't really a clear Google map, you know, so I had that on my phone, but the address was not clear. And they don't post street addresses quite the way we're used to. They'll be on the side of a building, but even then it was just a little confusing. We ended up talking to a cafe owner who actually spoke English. He called them for us. We were actually just around the corner from the shop, but they operate this shop out of their garage. We ended up talking with them after we brought our scooter back. It was a brand new little motorcycle, 125. It's called a Getaway. They come out of China. Really a nice little automatic motorcycle, just great to ride around the island. We rode up to a volcanic peak. We actually drive down into the crater. There's some big lakes down there. It's very beautiful. There's a town down there. Beautiful steep slopes, all covered with trees, very, very green. And hydrangeas everywhere. They just grow like wildflowers around that island, São Miguel Island, St. Michael Island in the Azores. We got back to the shop, and turns out the gentleman works at a bank. His wife, she works at for an airline company, and they want their daughter, who wants to go into medical school. They thought this business would help generate money for her education, but also teach her some responsibility. They were just wonderful to work with. And here's this family renting cycles, and they'd only started the business about, I don't know, a month, 6 weeks ago, but I found them on the internet and I'd lined this up. They were just so wonderful, and they spoke English, the wife more than the husband. But it was just great, and it could not have been. It was just very, very nice to get to know them. One of the things I want to tell you, as an American, as Andrew and I were riding our cycle, you know, we're used to going by gas stations with convenience stores. So if you need a bathroom, you have a place to go. Well, we couldn't find any gas stations. And it turns out on the Azores, gas stations aren't convenience stores. They just serve gas. If you can find one, we had problems finding one, but we never, on the way out up that hill, we couldn't find anything. And we had to use the bathroom. So what do? Well, for me, it's not much of a problem. There's lots of greenery. You pull the cycle over, you do your job, and you just take care of things, and then you're on your way. Well, for Andrew, it's a little more difficult. So we ended up going into a village, a small town, looking for something with a bathroom. We found a Catholic church, and it was a Sunday morning. So Andrea walked into the church. They were in the middle of Mass, and she said, I just walked there, people were in the back pew. She said, I couldn't find a bathroom anywhere. So she came outside. There was kind of a courtyard. Well, guess what? There was a public bathroom, or the church had its bathroom out in the courtyard. She said it was tiled, it was plumbed, it was wonderful. But you don't find bathrooms quite the way you're used to finding them in the States. And I have a rule. If I'm not buying gas at a gas station and I'm using their toilet, I'm going to buy something in that store. Well, you don't have that option in the Azores because they don't sell convenience stuff. They don't sell chips and pop and everything else. You get your gas. We had problems finding gas to get back, but when we got back, well, we finally found it. We finally found a gas station. Let's see, anything else I can tell you? Another thing is that we had to borrow the map. The tourist agency in Azores, because they're concerned about green policies, whatever, they don't print up very many maps. They loan them out to businesses. So we borrowed the map of the island and had to return the map of the island, so we couldn't keep it as kind of a keepsake. I don't fault the renters. I think that's a little bit extreme that you can't leave a piece of paper with somebody. But it's been a lot of fun. I started to say earlier on a personal level, this has been kind of a writing trip for me. I've been working on a project, and I have put hours into this project, people. But you know what happened? I told my English students, don't fall in love with your own words. You've got to be willing to get rid of your own words. After working on this for day after day after day and getting about 10 pages written, I reviewed what I'd written and I realized it's not working. It's not working. I can take those individual ideas, but I can't start the way I've started. So I started all over again. Yesterday. Can you believe that? All my glorious ideas, and I had to restart. But I think that process has been a good one. You know, it's had me think through some stuff I hadn't really thought through before, and I thought I could lay it out that way, but it's not working. So I think my new option, I think, is going to be better. But it took a long time to get to a revision stage. But hey, that's life, okay? Well, hey, the gentleman's going to meet us on the dock here at 9 o'clock, and the clock is ticking, so I need to get down and see Andrea, and we're going to get our scooter, and I'll have more to say about our time on Madeira Island. Thank you so much for listening. Take care, folks. Goodbye, and God bless. Bye-bye.